What's going on, everyone? Welcome to How to F1 for Monza for the Mercedes W12 Formula 1 car. This track is usually pretty popular in most other series, so I expect there's going to be a bit of a participation bump this week after last several weeks of more technical circuits. This track can be a lot of fun, but I know some guys are expecting this to be just a big DRS train because everybody's going to be running low downforce. As you can tell by the wing on this car, is extremely tiny. And the DRS itself is probably going to be similar to real life, where it won't be uber powerful like it is most other places, because the slot that will open up is going to be smaller than normal. There's not a whole lot more downforce for the car to lose, so people are probably just going to line up, and it's going to be down to whoever gets out of the corners better and whoever's got the most battery available. You'll also notice in these preview laps, let's use that little run off the track there. You'll notice in these preview laps that I'm running around on the red color soft tires. That's because this track is not known to chew up the tires in these cars. So we'll get into that a little bit later with the tire strategy. First is going to be our usual hot lap. And before I get into that, I'm just going to do this real quick, because as weird as it is for me to do. I know a bunch of y'all been tuning into these, been commenting on the videos and commenting on Reddit and wherever else I post these, and I greatly appreciate the interaction. So with that in mind, if you have been enjoying these videos and have been able to get something out of them, obviously continue to comment. I'm open to discuss the cars and the series and the racing as much as anybody wants to. And also be sure to like and subscribe to the channel on YouTube. I'd greatly appreciate it. Alright, so coming through this last corner here onto the main straight. We're coming up on one of the 2 DRS zones on this racetrack. I don't expect DRS to be super strong here, just because there's such a small hole that opens up since everybody's going to be in the low downforce trim. Brake hard for this corner. Watch out for the people in front of you, and be careful on throttle as you get out of the chicane here. The car will definitely like to spin up the rear tires and go for a spin on you. This second chicane right here, I tend to kind of drag the brake a little bit, and then about halfway through it, I'll give it a little extra gas and sometimes jump the curb there. If you do that, keep your foot in it just a little bit. It seems to help stabilize the car when it lands again. Be careful with the exit here at Lesmo 1 and 2. There's a pretty nasty off-track on both of those, and I'm probably going to point myself out. Here is the second DRS zone leading into the Ascari chicane. I brake just before this curb on the right, maybe a little bit early, but it helps me set up for a much smoother run through this sector. And then head down this last little straightaway here leading into the Parabolica. I brake just about the grass, get down to 5th gear, and then kind of open it up. You don't want to go this wide. You might want to keep it tucked in a little bit more. I've noticed a little bit better lap times doing that, but came out to a decent lap here, so there you go. So like I said, watching these laps, you guys will notice that I'm actually running the soft tires in these laps this week, and that is because, as I said earlier, the track hasn't been known to tear up the tires previous seasons with the McLaren. Every time we went here, the strategy was kind of divided between people running either a one-stop soft strategy, or the guys would be running a medium no-stop strategy. So this season, given the fact that the tires really aren't wearing out very much, it's very, very likely that you'll see a lot of guys doing a soft no-stop. However, the pace difference between the softs and the mediums and even the hards isn't extremely great. So if you're not confident that you can make the soft tires go the whole way, you won't really be doing yourself a disservice by running a medium no stop. It's entirely up to you. I advise doing some testing. I always advise doing some testing in practice. You know, run on both compounds, see which one you're most comfortable with, and see which ones, see which one you think you're going to be better at. I can tell you, especially getting into the chicanes, the first two, and then the Lesmos as well, since there's a little bit of a harder braking zones there. As with any other week, you want to avoid lockups. Several times in testing, I've actually locked the rears and spun getting into that first chicane. Avoid smashing the throttle and spinning up the tires. I see videos of other drivers coming out of tight corners and smashing the throttle down, and they just spin the tires up in a wheel spin all the way down the straightaway and do a John Force burnout all the way down there. And you're just heating up your rear tires and you're making life harder on yourself. So especially if you're going to run soft tires this week, you don't want to be doing that sort of thing. You want to be very smooth with your inputs in order to make these things last all the way. Like I said, if you don't feel comfortable trying to make that happen, then the mediums aren't going to be too much of a disadvantage for you. Now, talking tire strategy, this is, of course, regarding the open setup series. For the fixed setup series, it's very easily going to be a soft no-stop race. There's no question about that. Very few weeks out of the season are going to be anything other than a soft no-stop for the fixed setup sprint series. So that'll do it. Again, appreciate y'all tuning in. I appreciate the comments. Appreciate the likes and subscriptions. So yeah, be sure to tune in for next week. And yeah, see you then.